My name is Evelyn Carter, a top 5 matrimonial and asset protection lawyer in New York, known as the Divorce Queen. Tonight is my 7th wedding anniversary. I was sitting in a private room at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Lower Manhattan, with Wagyu beef, black truffles, and a bottle of 2005 Romani Conti in front of me. My husband, Daniel Brooks, sat across from me, looking gentle, respectable, and as usual in the custom navy suit I bought him. He raised his glass and smiled at me. "Evelyn, happy anniversary." I laughed. Then he pushed a document bag in front of me. It was brown paper, well sealed, with the letterhead of a law firm printed on it, not my law firm, but another one. I thought it was a gift. I even made a joke. I said, "Have you finally learned how to wrap romance in legal paperwork?" He didn't smile. "Sign it," he said. I opened the file bag. On the first page, the title is, Complaint for Divorce. Additional terms. 1. Accused Evelyn Carter of taking advantage of her position to manipulate client trust funds during her practice, which constituted a serious professional violation. 2. Accused Evelyn Carter of long-term mental abuse of Daniel Brooks during their marriage, constituting the faulty party in the marriage. 3. Apply to the court to immediately freeze all of Evelyn Carter's personal assets, joint accounts, and all her shares in the Carter and Associates law firm. My finger stopped on page 3. Not out of fear. It's because I'm so familiar with this kind of file. I have written similar clauses for hundreds of clients. I know what this means, not divorce, but destruction. Career ruined, financial ruined, reputation ruined. I looked up at Daniel. There was no guilt, no hesitation, or even nervousness on his expression. He looked at me as if he were looking at a case that was about to be liquidated. "If you don't sign," he said, "these charges will go directly to the state bar and the courts, along with the evidence." When he said the word evidence, his tone was very soft. I put the wine glass down, and the bottom of the glass hit the table with a crisp sound. "Where did you get the evidence?" He didn't answer. His phone lit up, he glanced at it, then placed the screen down on the table. I have seen that action countless times, but tonight I suddenly realized it was not to not disturb our meal, it was to prevent me from seeing who was sending him messages. Before I could ask a second question, my phone rang. "Is the law firm's managing partner, Arthur Klein?" His voice sounded 10 years older on the phone. "Evelyn, the board just received a formal report. The content of the report involves your illegal operation of client funds, and the evidence has been submitted. The State Bar Association will launch investigative proceedings tomorrow. The board of directors voted to suspend your management privileges, freeze your law firm shares, and shut down your system access until the investigation is completed." I heard my own voice asking, "Who reported it?" Arthur was silent for 3 seconds. "The whistleblower's signature is Rachel Lynn." I hung up the phone. Sitting in that restaurant room that I reserved 2 weeks in advance, there was a $3,000 anniversary dinner on the table, opposite my husband of 7 years, and in my pocket were the documents that had just torn my entire life into pieces. The person who reported me, Rachel Lynn, is my best friend, my only partner, and the sister I brought up with my own hands. She drank with me when I was at my lowest, shielded me from the knife, and helped me build my law firm from scratch to the scale it is today. On the day my mother died, she drove me 3 hours home from the hospital and cooked me a bowl of noodles. Now that I think about that bowl of noodles, my stomach is churning. Daniel spoke. "Evelyn, listen to me. There is no need to make a fuss about this matter. You sign and accept the settlement terms, and I can help you suppress the law firm's investigation. I will also coordinate with Rachel. You only need to give up half of your assets, and we can go our separate ways with the rest." When he said the word help you, he even had a giving tone. I looked into his eyes. When we got married 7 years ago, he stood on the steps of City Hall and said to me, "I will protect you." I thought this sentence was vulgar at the time, but I believed it. Now that I was sitting across from him, I suddenly understood one thing: he didn't want a divorce. He was going to strip me clean and wipe me completely off this table. I didn't sign. I stood up, picked up my bag, closed the document bag, and took it away. Daniel didn't stop me. I walked out of the restaurant and stood on the street, the February New York wind cutting my face like a knife. I was wearing the silk dress I had prepared for the anniversary, without a coat, and stood on the street waiting for the bus. The phone screen lit up dozens of times. Rachel made 12 phone calls. The law firm HR called 6 times. There are also 3 unknown numbers, probably reporters. I didn't answer anyone's calls. I hailed a taxi and gave my home address. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror and probably thought that this woman dressed like this and taking a taxi home alone at this hour had either just been dumped or dumped someone else. I sat in the back seat, and the night view of Manhattan slid past my eyes outside the window. Those office building lights, those houses that I helped clients win, those things that I thought were earned by myself. The taxi stopped below the apartment building. I swiped my card to enter, and the elevator went up. The lights in the corridor were the warm colors I had just changed yesterday. The anniversary wreath I ordered is still hanging on my doorstep. I open the door. The entrance light is on. There is a glass of water on the shoe cabinet, and a piece of note paper is pressed next to it, with Daniel's handwriting on it. Remember to take your medicine. I stood in the entrance hall holding the note for about 5 minutes. Then I went into the bedroom and opened the closet. His clothes were gone. It's not that a few items are missing, it's that they have all disappeared. There are only my clothes left in the closet, which are neat and tidy, like a person's closet. He's still here this morning. He even kissed my forehead this morning and said see you in the evening. He had moved out this morning. I sat on the edge of the bed and poured the glass of water. Didn't take the medicine. Not because I forgot. It's because those medicines are anti-anxiety medicines and were prescribed by the doctor. Rachel made an appointment for me. And Rachel is somewhere right now, working with my husband, pushing me into an abyss that I have helped others win countless times but never thought I would stand in. I lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling. The ceiling is white and was painted last year. Rachel helped me pick the color. She said, white is clean and suitable for people like you. I asked her, what kind of person am I? She said, the kind of person who seems to be able to bear anything, but actually keeps everything in his heart. Now that I think about it, maybe it wasn't concern, it was her confirming how much I can handle. The phone lights up. It's not a phone call, it's a text message. Unknown number. Evelyn Carter, I'm a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. We have received information that you are under investigation for suspected misappropriation of client funds. Would you like to respond? I placed my phone on the bedside table with the screen facing down. At that moment, I made an action. I reached out to the bedside table on Daniel's side, just like I would reach out and touch his hand when I had insomnia. My hand touched the empty countertop. He didn't leave a charging cord behind. Not even a hair was left. I suddenly realized something. This is not a plan that starts tonight. This is a reckoning that was laid out long in advance. And I was the last one to know. I didn't sleep that night. At 6:00 the next morning, I arrived at the law firm. Carter and Associates, 47th floor, entire floor. This is a place I spent 10 years building. I personally picked the marble at the front desk in Italy, and I hung the license frame on the wall myself. The elevator door opens. There was a new person at the front desk who I didn't recognize. When she saw me, she stood up with an embarrassed expression. Ms. Carter. I swiped my card in. I put the work card on it. Red light. Your privileges have been suspended. Mr. Arthur asked me to tell you that if you need to pick up personal belongings, you will be accompanied by a colleague. I was standing at the front desk of my own law firm, blocked from the marble of my choice. Rachel came across the corridor. She was wearing a gray Armani suit that I gave her as a birthday present last year. The pair of shoes on her feet were bought together when we were on a business trip in Paris. They were the same style but different colors. She walked up to me. No crying, no apology, no explanation. She looked at me and said something in a very calm tone. Evelyn, it's time for you to go. I asked her, did you do it? She didn't deny it. She even nodded slightly. You made the hole yourself, she said. I just filled it. I looked at her. This man cried harder than I did at my mother's funeral. This man answered my call at 3:00 in the night and listened to me scolding my ex-boyfriend. When I got the title of divorce queen, this person opened a bottle of champagne and said to me, you are the most ruthless woman in this city. She is now standing in front of me, wearing the clothes I gave her, standing in the office I built, telling me, I just filled the holes you left. I didn't rush up and hit her. Not because I'm calm. It's because my hands are shaking, so much that I can't hold my fists. I turned around and left. When I entered the elevator, I saw the reflection on the glass door. A 35-year-old woman, wearing a rumpled silk dress, with her hair loose, no makeup, and red eyes. This is me. This is the divorce queen who has helped hundreds of women climb out of the ruins of their marriages. I now stand in my own ruins, not even sure where to put my first step. When I returned to the apartment, I sat on the floor of the living room, leaning against the sofa, and spread out the folder that Daniel had left on the floor. Read page by page. Every page is professional. Every page treads on the edge of the law, but never crosses it. The person who wrote this document knows very well how to destroy a lawyer within the legal framework. Allegation of professional violations, not direct evidence, but indirect chain. For the capital flow operated with my authority, every transaction was carried out with my account authority, but the operation time and IP address were deliberately blurred. The reporting materials only said initiated by Carter account and did not say operated by who on what terminal. Allegations of emotional abuse, no audio recordings, no photos, just chat logs between Daniel and a counselor. In his records, he described me as emotionally unstable, long-term cold and violent, and socially controlled. The psychological counselor is his college classmate and has been practicing for 5 years, specializing in high-conflict marriages. The asset freeze application cited 3 federal statutes and 2 state laws, all related to asset preservation for suspected career criminals. This document was not written by a husband. This is written by a team. I turned to the last page. Attachment 1, copy of report letter. Reporter, Rachel Lynn. The payment date was 3 months ago. 3 months ago. During that time, Rachel came to my house for dinner twice a week and had a great time chatting with Daniel. I thought she was helping me stay married. I thought she was my friend. I closed the file and closed my eyes. A picture flashed through my mind last month. Rachel was having dinner at my house and Daniel went to the kitchen to get wine. She was sitting on the sofa and suddenly asked me, "Evelyn, have you ever thought about what you would do if one day you didn't have to worry about anything?" I said at the time, "I never thought about it." She smiled. She said, "You should think about it." I now understand what that statement means. She wasn't concerned about my future. She was checking whether I noticed it or not. I picked up my phone, opened my address book, and flipped to Marcus Hale. Marcus was a client of mine in a case 3 years ago. He was an expert in financial investigations on Wall Street. At that time, he was accused by his ex-wife of hiding assets. I helped him win the lawsuit and save his company. After the case was over, he invited me for a drink and said, "Evelyn, if you need me someday, you're welcome." At the time, I thought this was just a polite comment. I need him now. I made the call. He picked up quickly. "Evelyn? Marcus, I need you to help me look up something." "You said." "Bank data. Records of my account access operations. Over the past year." He didn't ask why. All he said was, "Send me the authorization document. I'll start today." I hung up the phone and sent the authorization. Then I sat on the floor and looked out the window at New York. The sun shines in and shines on the document bag. The color of the craft paper looked old in the light, as if it had been prepared for many years. I'm thinking about one thing. When did Daniel start? We were married for 7 years. He said he loves me. He said I worked too hard and needed to learn to relax. He said he supported me. He never complained about me working overtime, never complained about my weekend meetings, and never complained about me taking cases home. I thought that was understanding. Now I know, that's not understanding. That was him giving me space to put all my energy into my work and expose all my vulnerabilities. He doesn't need to stop me from succeeding. He just had to watch me succeed, and then where I succeeded, he would plant something that would destroy me. The third day, Marcus called. "Evelyn, I found something." His tone changed. Not in a progress tone, but in a, "I'm not sure you want to hear it" tone. "You said, the abnormal fund operations in your account were indeed executed with your authority. But the operating terminal is not your commonly used device. The operation time was from 2 to 4 in the morning, and your mobile phone location during that time showed that you were at home. So someone used your authority. Either you gave your password to someone else, or someone obtained your secondary verification through other means. My secondary verification is an SMS verification code. A text message verification code will be sent to my mobile phone. Unless someone can get my phone while I'm asleep." I held the phone and my palms began to sweat. "One more thing," Marcus said. "Your husband Daniel Brooks's personal account, there have been 12 large transfers of funds in the past 3 years. The total amount is approximately 7.2 million. The transfer direction was to 3 offshore accounts. The beneficiary registered on the account is a company called Lynn Brooks Holdings. Lynn Brooks. Rachel Lynn. Daniel Brooks. They put their last names together and registered a company. 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was still celebrating Rachel's birthday, flying for 14 hours at an altitude of 30,000 feet to London to buy her that limited edition bag. 3 years ago, Daniel said in my ears, "You are my everything." They had registered a company 3 years ago. I put the phone on the table. Then I stood up, walked to the bathroom, turned on the faucet, and splashed cold water on my face. I looked at myself in the mirror. I suddenly remembered something. 2 years ago, Daniel once accidentally mentioned that my law firm's client management system was too old. You should ask Rachel to help you upgrade the permission settings. She understands this. I thought it made sense at the time. Rachel does understand. Not only did she understand, she gave herself a backdoor into the system. I sent a message to Marcus, continue checking. Check all records of Rachel's operations in the system. He replied with 2 words, received. Then I did another thing. I turned on my computer and logged into my personal encrypted cloud disk. Only I know about this cloud disk. It contains the original backups of all the cases over the years, not from the law firm's server, but from my own records. I flipped through it for 3 hours. Found it. The flow of funds in one case was completely consistent with the abnormal operations cited in Rachel's reporting materials. But that fund was not an illegal operation, it was an asset transfer authorized by the client. I have a scanned copy of the client's signature, but the signature document in the law firm's server has been deleted. Deleted by whom? Someone with system administrator rights. Rachel. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. The heart was beating fast, but not with fear. It's something very cold crawling up my spine. I have to think about one thing clearly. What do they want? Daniel wants assets. The 7.2 million has been transferred away, and he still wants me to give up the remaining half. Rachel wants a law firm. Kick me out and she takes over my clients, my resources, my team. What they want is the possessive character of my entire life, not part of. It's all. The 4th day. Daniel softened. He sent a message, worded as gently as a marriage counselor. Evelyn, let's talk. I don't want to make this ugly. You and I both know that continuing to fight is not good for anyone. You get half of your assets back, I withdraw the charges, and I can coordinate with Rachel. Let's take a step back, okay? I stared at this message for a long time. Everyone takes a step back. He stood on the ground I had dug out and said to me, let's each take a step back. I didn't reply. Marcus' call came in. Evelyn, you have to sit tight. Say. I traced the original logs of those abnormal operations in your account. The operator did not use your password, but used a system backdoor. The backdoor was established 2 years ago, and the creator's account is Rachel Lynn. Moreover, your husband Daniel of the 7.2 million that Brooks transferred 3 years ago, 2 million went directly into Rachel's personal account. In addition, I found a call record the night before you received the notice of the law firm's investigation. Daniel and Rachel talked on the phone for 47 minutes. 47 minutes. They spent 47 minutes deciding the rest of my life. I hung up the phone. I walked around the living room a lot. Every step I stepped on was a thick carpet that Daniel and I found at a second-hand market in Brooklyn. He said the rug had a story. What story do I say? It's seen a lot of people's feet, he said. Now it bears witness to my feet. 1 lap. 2 laps. 3 laps. I stop. I picked up my phone and texted Daniel back. Okay. Let's talk. Not for reconciliation. It was to make him think that I believed it. Day 5. Daniel and I met at a coffee shop. He sat across from me, wearing that navy blue suit, and ordered an Americano, no sugar or milk. He orders coffee exactly the same way he did 7 years ago. The first thing he said was, Evelyn, I know you're angry. But there's really no need for it to be like this. I looked at him. His expression was gentle, restrained, and even had a hint of I feel sorry for you. This man started transferring assets 3 years ago. This man registered a company with my best friend. This man spent 47 minutes on the phone with that woman last night, discussing how to get me to sign. He sat across from me and told me, there's no need to do this. I said, what are your conditions? He leaned closer and lowered his voice. You give up half of your assets. I withdraw all charges. I'll let Rachel help you suppress the investigation at the law firm. You get your license back and start over. We all went our separate ways. How much is half the assets? 12 million. 12 million. He has already transferred 7.2 million. Add 12 million more. He took away nearly 20 million alone. What I earned, worked hard for, and carried in 10 years, he took away nearly 20 million alone. Rachel took away my law firm. What did I take? A lawyer's license without a criminal record. This is the reconciliation they gave me. I didn't refuse on the spot. I said, let me think about it. Daniel nodded. He thought I was wavering. He thought that I was like before, choosing to be rational, choose to stop losses, and choose not to break up at critical moments. He thought I was still the person who can bear anything and hide everything in my heart. He was wrong. On the way home, I made a call. Not for lawyers, I'm a lawyer. Not for friends, I don't have any friends anymore. I called Marcus. Marcus, I want you to do something for me. What? Help me restore all deleted original logs in the server, including permission modification records, operating terminal MAC addresses, and the login IP when Rachel established the backdoor 2 years ago. Can. But it takes time. And if they discover that you are conducting reverse investigations, your situation will be even more dangerous. I know. Are you sure? I'm sure. I hung up the phone. Standing on the street, watching the people coming and going. New Yorkers walk very fast. No one looks at you. No one asks you if you are okay. That's what I love about this city. It doesn't pretend to care about you. But now, this is what I need. I need to not be seen. I need to not be asked, are you okay? Because I'm not good. But not good is not a reason for me to stop. That night, I did something. I opened up the old laptop Daniel had left at home. He changed to a new computer, but the old one was left in the study drawer and was not taken away. The password is his birthday. I tried it once and got in. It wasn't that he was careless. It's because he didn't think I would investigate at all. In his eyes, I am a person who keeps everything in his heart but doesn't check anything. I help clients check their husband's hidden accounts, cheating records, and asset transfers, but I never check my own marriage. Because he made me feel trust is the foundation of marriage. How ironic. I sat in the study for 4 hours, looking through this computer. Mostly junk files, old photos, work documents. But in a folder called Backup, I found an encrypted compressed package. I tried 3 times using his usual password combination. The 3rd time, it was solved. There are 37 files in it. Financial statements, transfer records, email screenshots, and a PDF file titled Project Evelyn. Project Evelyn. I was his project. Open that PDF. Page 1, Project Goals. 1. Destroy Evelyn Carter's professional reputation. 2. Obtain their personal and joint assets. 3. Transfer its customer resources to Rachel Lynn's name. 4. Ensure that Daniel Brooks joins the law firm's board of directors. 5. Evelyn Carter shall not pursue any lawsuit in any form. Page 2, Timeline. The first stage, Trust Establishment and Authority Penetration, months 1 to 12. Phase 2, Asset Transfer and Evidence Collection, months 13 to 24. The third stage, Reporting and Liquidation, months 25 to 36. Page 3, Key Nodes. Month 14, Arrange for Evelyn to receive psychological counseling and be prescribed anti-anxiety medication, paving the way for subsequent accusations of emotional abuse. Month 18, Guide Evelyn to upgrade the system permissions, and Rachel implants the backdoor. Month 22, Create the first abnormal fund operation to test the system response. Month 30, Rachel completed writing the reporting materials and waited for the opportunity. Month 35, Daniel files for divorce and initiates liquidation. I saw the note on month 22. Test system response. That test was when I was helping a client isolate assets. A certain amount of money was taken away from my account, and the operation time was in the early morning. I noticed something unusual at that time and asked Rachel what was going on. She said, "There is a system bug, I will help you fix it." She said system bug. I believed it. I closed the PDF and closed the computer. Then I walked to the bathroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the tub. I started laughing. Not happy. It's that kind of thing you finally know. You finally know that those moments when you feel wrong but choose not to check, are all nodes carefully designed by others. You thought you chose trust. You have no choice. You just walked into a script that they wrote in advance. I laughed for a long time and then stopped. I sat on the edge of the tub for an hour. Then I made a decision. I want to fight. Not for money. Not for law firms. It is to let them know that you have chosen the wrong person. The 7th day. Marcus restored the first batch of data. He sent me an encrypted file containing records of all Rachel's operations in the system. Time, IP address, terminal model, and operation content. Every item is clear. I took this data and did not go to the court or the lawyers association. I went to one place, my own apartment. I store the data on an offline hard drive and put it in the safe. Only I know the password to the safe. Then I started cooperating with the investigation. I acted flustered, anxious, and overwhelmed. I sent Rachel a message, "Can you help me? I don't know what to do." She responded quickly, "Evelyn, I suggest you accept settlement. It's the best option for you. The best choice for me." She used the best option for me. It's not for everyone, it's not for your career, it's the best choice for you. She's still playing that good for me friend. I replied, "I'll think about it again." Then I sent Daniel a message, "I might be willing to sign. But I need time to put together an asset list." He replied, "Yes. But don't take too long." The evidence is still in the hands of the Lawyers Association, and I can't suppress it for too long. He was urging me. He was anxious. That means one thing, they weren't sure I would sign. They need me to sign as soon as possible, end this matter as soon as possible, and turn all evidence into settled, no prosecution as soon as possible. Because as long as I don't sign, those evidences will be reviewed. Being censored means being overturned. I held my phone and looked at Daniel's message. I can't hold it down for long. He can't suppress it. This means that the evidence is not as solid as he said. I picked up the phone and called Marcus. Marcus, I want you to continue checking. Check all the financial connections between Rachel and Daniel. I want specific transfer records, account numbers, and beneficiary information. Already checking. But there's one thing you need to know. If they find out you're doing reverse research, they'll wind up liquidating it faster. You may not have enough time. I know. Then what are you going to do? Let them think I'm broken. Day 10. I started acting. I don't reply to Daniel's messages. I only reply one after a long time. The content is I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm confused. I intentionally posted a status on social media, a photo outside a window with the caption, I don't know which way to go. Rachel liked this status. She's looking at me. She was checking to see if I was really broken. I continue to act. I replied an email to the HR of the law firm with a humble tone. When can I get my personal belongings back? HR replied that it will be arranged next week. I took a screenshot of this email and sent it to Rachel with the text, can you help me ask? I don't want to go alone. She replied, let me ask for you. Don't worry. Don't worry. She is still acting. Day 12. Marcus called. Evelyn, I found it. What? Between Rachel and Daniel, in addition to the $2 million, there is a continuous and regular flow of funds. On the 5th of every month, Daniel will transfer a sum of money to a private account of Rachel. The amount is not large, 5,000 to 10,000. But it lasted 3 years. On the 5th day of every month. The 5th of every month 3 years ago. I flipped through the calendar. 3 years ago on May 5th, Daniel said he was going to Chicago on a business trip. He did go and brought me deep dish pizza. He went to Chicago. Then he transferred 5,000 yuan to Rachel. I closed my eyes. Go on, I said. One more thing, Marcus said. Daniel's offshore company Lynn Brooks Holdings is not just for transferring assets. It also has a function. It invests in a small private equity fund. You know one of the investors in that fund. Who? One of your law firm partners, Mark Sullivan. Mark Sullivan. He is the third partner of the law firm. Not much equity, but one vote on the board of directors. He is also in this bureau. Rachel is not alone. Daniel is not alone. It's Annette. I sat on the chair and didn't move for a long time. Then I made a form. In the table, I have 3 columns. Column 1, participants. Column 2, role. Column 3, evidence. Daniel Brooks, mastermind, asset transfer, money flow, project Evelyn PDF. Rachel Lynn, executor, system backdoor, reporting operation log, capital flow. Mark Sullivan, facilitator, board vote, fund investment record. The names of 3 people. The evidence of 3 persons. Not enough. I need more. I need to let them tear the net open themselves in court, in the boardroom, in front of everyone. I sent Marcus a message. Do one thing for me. Put a decoy in your system. What bait? A fake account. It looks like my hidden assets. The amount doesn't have to be too big, about 3 million. Put it in a place where it can be easily traced. You want them to rob it? I'm going to let them grab it. Day 15. Daniel's messages became more and more frequent. Evelyn, have you thought about it? Time is running out. The Lawyers Association started pressing me. I couldn't hold it back any longer. If you don't sign, I won't be able to help you. Every piece of news was like a nail hammering into a heart I thought was numb. But I didn't reply. I'm waiting. Wait for him to find out the bait account. Day 17. He found it. Daniel sent a message and his tone changed. Evelyn, I noticed you still have an account. 3 million. You didn't declare it. Do you know what that means? He's threatening me. He was telling me, I found your handle. I gave him that handle. I replied, that account was left to me by my mother. It is not marital property. He replied, legally, you can't prove it. Sign it. Otherwise, this account will also be frozen. He was anxious. He started making mistakes. A real trader will not reveal that he has discovered a new asset at this time. He would hide this information as a final bargaining chip. But he didn't. Because he thought I no longer had the ability to fight back. He thought I was still crying in the bedroom, dazed in the bathroom, looking at New York by the window and not knowing what to do. He was wrong. I replied, okay. I'll sign. But I have to sign in person. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in the law firm conference room. He replied, okay. I put down the phone and picked up another one, a backup phone with a number only Marcus knew. Marcus, tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we will be in the law firm conference room. I want you to remotely access the conference room system and record all conversations, including video and audio. Okay. But you have to make sure the conference room equipment is on. I'll make sure. Day 18. 3 p.m., Carter and Associates, conference room. When I walked into the law firm, the new girl at the front desk looked at me with something in her eyes, not sympathy, but curiosity. She was looking at what a queen about to fall would look like. I didn't look at her. I walked into the conference room. Daniel has arrived. He sat at one end of the long table with a laptop and a glass of water in front of him. Rachel sat next to him. She was wearing the gray Armani suit, her hair was tied up, and her expression was professional and calm, like a banker who was executing an important transaction. Mark Sullivan was sitting in the corner, not looking at me. 3 people. I started designing my people 3 years ago. I sit down. Daniel pushed the file over. Sign it. I picked up the pen. Then I let it go. Before signing, I would like to ask a few questions. Daniel frowned. What's the problem? You and her. I looked at Rachel. When did you and her start? Rachel's expression didn't change. Daniel was silent for 2 seconds. It's not important. It's important to me. I looked at him. There was no anger or sadness in my eyes. I just looked at him. He avoided my gaze. 3 years ago, he said. 3 years ago. I nodded. Okay. Second question. Mark, how much did you invest in the fund? Mark raised his head and his expression changed. Daniel's eyes suddenly became sharp. Evelyn, what are you talking about? I was asking Mark how much money he invested in Lynn Brooks Holdings. The conference room was quiet. Mark stood up. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know? What about this document? I took out a folder from my bag and opened it. Inside was the fund investment record that Marcus had found. Mark's name, amount, and investment date are all clear. Mark's face turned pale. Daniel put his hand on the table, his fingers curled slightly. Rachel said nothing. But the way she looked at me changed, from a controller to an observer. She started to re-evaluate me. Evelyn, Daniel's voice lowered, what do you want to do? I want to make one thing clear before signing. I stood up, closed the divorce papers, and pushed them aside. You spent 3 years designing a game. Daniel transferred assets, Rachel planted a backdoor, and Mark cooperated with the voting on the board of directors. You thought I didn't know. You thought I would collapse, sign, and disappear with that little money. I looked at Daniel. But you forgot one thing. What? I'm Evelyn Carter. I'm the toughest woman in the city. Rachel didn't help me get this title. I earned it myself. Rachel spoke. Evelyn, calm down. What you do now will only make things worse. Worse? I took another folder out of my bag and threw it on the table. Inside is the original log of the server restored by Marcus. Each page has a record of Rachel's operations. Do you know what this is? This is the original log of the backdoor you inserted into your system. Time, IP address, terminal MAC. You delete the records in the server, but you cannot delete the backup. Rachel's expression changed. For the first time, she looked out of control. And you. I looked at Daniel and pulled out the third folder. This is your complete flow of asset transfers over the past 3 years. 7,200,000. 2 million of them went into Rachel's personal account. And the PDF of your project, Evelyn, do you think it's gone if you delete it? You forgot your old computer was still in the study drawer. Daniel stood up. Are you recording? I'm recording. Do you know what you are doing? If you do this, your license will be completely ruined. My license? I laughed. Daniel, listen clearly. My license won't be finished. Because those professional violations were not done by me. It was you and Rachel who used my permissions to operate through the back door. The original log is here, the operating terminal MAC address is here, and the financial relationship between the two of you is here. When these things are brought to court, it's not me who gets sued, it's you who gets sued. Rachel stood up and pushed her chair away. Evelyn, you think these things can win? Do you know who you are fighting? I know. I'm working with 2 people who started designing me 3 years ago. I was fighting one of my best friends. I was fighting a man I had been married to for 7 years. My voice didn't shake. I'm not afraid of you. Mark stood up, picked up his bag and left. Mark, I called him, before you leave, think about one thing. I have submitted your fund investment records to the state bar. You are also a lawyer. You know what this means. Mark stopped. He stood at the door, his back frozen for a long time. Then he turned around, looked at me, and said something. Evelyn, I didn't know that was their plan. You do not know? I really don't know. They only told me it was an asset restructuring project. I invested money because Daniel said the rate of return was high. I didn't know it was directed at you. I looked into his eyes. He is lying. But it doesn't matter. His fund investment record was enough to cost him the right to vote on the board of directors. You can go, I said. Mark is gone. There were 3 people left in the conference room. Me, Daniel, Rachel. Daniel stood there, the gentleness on his face completely gone. He now looks like a cornered trader. All the chips are on the table, but he finds he doesn't have as much as he thought. Rachel leaned against the window, folded her arms, and looked at me. She suddenly smiled. Evelyn, you are really powerful. I admit, I underestimated you. You didn't underestimate me. You just thought I couldn't fight. You can fight. But you can't win. Why? Because even if you win the case, your marriage is over, your friendship is over, your law firm can't come back. You win, but you can't get anything back. She's right. Even if I win, I won't go back to 7 years ago. I will never go back to the me who believed in Daniel and Rachel. But I'm not trying to take it back. I want them to know there are some things you can't destroy. Rachel, listen. I'm not asking for anything back. I want you and Daniel to tell you what you did in court, in the board of directors, and in front of everyone who knows you. I picked up my bag and walked out of the conference room. The corridor is very long. The marble floor reflects the light. The girl at the front desk looked at me with a change in her eyes, not curiosity, but awe. She didn't know what happened, but she saw me walking out of the conference room with no one following me. I walked into the elevator. The moment the door closed, my legs went weak. I leaned against the elevator wall and put my hand on my chest, my heart beating so fast it felt like it was about to explode from my chest. I wasn't shaking in the conference room just now. Now, I'm shaking. Because I know from this moment on, there is no turning back. The elevator reaches the first floor. I walked out, across the lobby, and pushed open the door. The wind in New York is still so cold. I stood on the street, took out my cell phone, and dialed a number. Marcus, pack up all the evidence. Submit it to the court and the state bar tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Are you sure? I'm sure. I hung up the phone. Then I stood on the street and cried. Not because of him and Rachel. Not because of the law firm. Not because of money. It was because it took me 18 days to change myself from a designed person to a designed counterattack person. During these 18 days, I thought about the same sentence every day. Am I not worthy of being loved at all? Daniel says he loves me. Rachel said she loved me. Mark said he was my friend. Every word they said was part of the plan. I stood on the street in New York and cried for 3 minutes. Then I wiped my tears and hailed a taxi. Where to go? The driver asked. Go home. Which home? I was stunned for a moment. Yes, which home? Daniel moved away. The law firm cannot be entered. That apartment is joint property. I don't have a home anymore. Central Park West, that apartment, I said. I still have to go back. Because my stuff is still there, my documents, my evidence, my computer, my safe, and me. Day 20. The court filed a case. I sue Daniel Brooks, Rachel Lynn, Mark Sullivan, professional slander, property fraud, conspiracy to embezzle, breach of fiduciary duty. 46 claims. Each one is supported by evidence. Word spread quickly. The Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Law 360, everyone in the legal circle has seen this news. Divorce queen sues her husband and partners, alleging a 3-year conspiracy to defraud. My phone was blowing up. 37 missed calls. I picked up one of them, Arthur Klein, the law firm's managing partner. Evelyn, the board has seen the evidence you submitted. We need to reevaluate our previous decision. No need to reevaluate. My law license is still under investigation. We will wait for the results of the investigation. But your evidence. My evidence will speak for itself. I'm hung up. Day 25. First court hearing. I'm on the plaintiff's bench. Daniel and Rachel sat in the dock, next to their lawyer, a middle-aged man I had never worked with before. His hair was neatly combed and his expression was serious. The judge is a woman in her 60s, Elizabeth Moore. She knows me. I fought many lawsuits before her. She had no particular preference for me, but she respected the evidence. Our attorney, yes, I have an attorney representing me. Because I know that if I am my own lawyer, I will lose control of my emotions in court. I need someone to speak for me. The lawyer's name is Michael Chin. He specializes in commercial litigation and does not touch marriage law. I chose him because he only looks at evidence and doesn't tell stories. His opening statement was short. Your Honor, this is not a divorce case. This is a premeditated professional frame-up and property fraud case that lasted for 3 years and involved multiple people colluding. We will provide the original server logs, financial flows, email records, and a project plan written by the defendant Daniel Brooks himself named Project Evelyn. He threw the PDF onto the screen. The entire court fell silent. I saw Daniel's lawyer leaning over to talk to him. Daniel's expression, this is the first time I've seen him look like this. Not anger, but fear. Rachel sat next to him, head lowered, not looking at anyone. Michael began to present the evidence. The first group, server original logs. Rows of data appeared on the screen. Time, operator, operation content, terminal MAC. Your Honor, this is the original log of the server of the law firm where the plaintiff Evelyn Carter works. Please pay attention to lines 14 to 28. These operation records show that between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, someone used the plaintiff's account authority to perform fund operations. However, the MAC address of the operating terminal does not match the MAC addresses of all the plaintiff's devices. On the contrary, this MAC address, he turned to the next page, exactly consistent with the MAC address of defendant Rachel Lynn's office equipment. Rachel's lawyer stood up. Objection. How the original logs were obtained may be controversial. The judge glanced at me. Michael said, all logs were extracted by third-party financial investigation expert Marcus Hale in accordance with the law. The entire extraction process was videotaped and has been submitted as an evidence attachment. The judge nodded. Objection void. Continue. The second group, capital flow. Financial connection between Daniel and Rachel. 2 million transfer records. 2 million went into Rachel's account. Fixed transfers of 5,000 to 10,000 per month. Your Honor, these financial flows show that there has been a regular financial transaction between the defendant Daniel Brooks and the defendant Rachel Lynn for 3 years. This model of capital exchange is inconsistent with joint business projects or personal loans. It is more in line with a model, joint planning and joint profit. Group 3, Project Evelyn PDF. The PDF on the screen flipped through page by page. Project goal, destroy Evelyn Carter's professional credibility. Timeline, months 1 to 12, trust establishment and authority penetration. Key node, on the 18th month, Evelyn was guided to upgrade the system permissions, and Rachel implanted the backdoor. On the 35th month, Daniel filed for divorce and initiated liquidation. Someone in the courtroom gasped. Daniel's lawyer stood up with an ugly expression on his face. Your Honor, we question the authenticity of this document. It came from defendant Daniel Brooks' old computer, but there was no way to prove that the document was created by Daniel Brooks himself. Michael turned to the next page. This is the metadata of the file. Creator, Daniel Brooks. Created 3 years ago. Last modified 3 years ago. Modified by Daniel Brooks. Metadata cannot be forged. The courtroom was as quiet as a library. The judge looked at Daniel. Mr. Brooks, what is your explanation for this document? Daniel stood up, the muscles in his face twitching. I don't know where this document came from. You don't know? I didn't write it. The metadata shows you wrote it. Maybe someone else wrote it on my computer. The judge glanced at him and lowered his head to take notes. I know he's lying. But I'm not angry. Because I know the moment he lies in court, he has already lost. Rachel's lawyer asked for an adjournment. The judge approved. After the adjournment, I walked out of the court. The corridors were filled with reporters. They rushed up, microphones, cameras, and recorders, all pointed at me. Ms. Carter, what do you think of today's hearing? Ms. Carter, do you think you can still get your law license back? Ms. Carter, what do you think of Rachel Lynn's rebuttal? I didn't answer. I walked through the crowd and into the elevator. I was the only one in the elevator. The moment the door closed, I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. The heart beats very fast. But not fear. It's a very cold thing, I'm controlling the temperature. I told myself not to be happy, not to relax, not to feel one. Because I haven't one yet. This is just the beginning. Day 30. Second hearing. Rachel brought her own evidence. She tried to prove that those abnormal financial operations were authorized by me and she was just executing my instructions. She submitted a screenshot of the email. In the email, I sent her a message using my company email address. Rachel, help me handle the funds for KC. The date of the email is the same as the date of the first abnormal operation. Rachel's lawyer said, "This email shows that the plaintiff Evelyn Carter clearly instructed the defendant Rachel Lynn to handle the relevant funds. The defendant was only executing the plaintiff's instructions." Michael stands up. "Your Honor, please allow me to present another piece of evidence." He cast it onto the screen. It is an analysis report of raw email data. The sending time of this email is shown as 1:17 a.m. But the mail server log shows that the actual sending time of this email is 10:23 a.m. Someone modified the sending timestamp of the email. The court fell silent again. The person who modified the timestamp was a user with system administrator rights. At that time, there was only one person with system administrator rights. He looked at Rachel. Defendant Rachel Lynn. Rachel's lawyer stood up again. "Objection. The plaintiff is speculating." The judge looked at Michael. "Do you have direct evidence?" "Yes. This is the operation log of the mail server. 2 minutes before the email was sent, someone logged into the mail server with an administrator account and modified the timestamp settings. The login account is Rachel Lynn." Rachel's face paled. She didn't look at the judge, she didn't look at the lawyer, she didn't look at anyone. She looked at me. I looked at her. At that moment, there was a courtroom table between us, 3 years of lies, and the vow we made together when we graduated from law school that we're going to change this industry. She said nothing. I didn't speak. But we all know from this moment on, she is no longer my friend. Not because she betrayed me. Because she stood in court with a fake email and tried to bury me deeper. And the way I looked at her was not anger. It's "I see you." Day 35. A rift appears between Daniel and Rachel. Marcus detected that the frequency of communication between them suddenly tripled. They are blaming each other. Daniel blamed Rachel for leaving too many traces of her operations. Rachel blamed Daniel for writing the Project Evelyn PDF. They are arguing. This is the fate of greedy people. They can conspire, but they cannot share in adversity. I started to speed up. I asked Marcus to continue to release information about the bait account to make them think I had more hidden assets. Sure enough, Daniel took the bait. Through his lawyer, he submitted a supplementary application to the court, requesting the freezing of my undeclared assets of $3 million. That account was the bait I put out to him. He voluntarily admitted in court that he discovered the account. This means he is admitting that he is constantly monitoring my personal assets. This is a fatal contradiction for an abused husband in a marriage. Weren't you abused? Aren't you afraid of me? Then how can you continue to monitor my personal account for 3 years? Michael raised this issue directly to Daniel at the third hearing. "Mr. Brooks, you said that you were mentally abused by the plaintiff for a long time during your marriage. Then why did you continue to log into the plaintiff's personal bank account at least once a month for 3 years? Daniel's lawyer objected. The judge allowed it. Daniel sat on the witness stand with beads of sweat on his forehead. I was just confirming the family's financial situation. The way you verify your family's financial status is by logging into your wife's personal account every month? Not a joint account, but a personal account? Yes. Does your wife know you're logging into her personal account? I don't know. Then you were logging into her personal account without authorization. I have her password. You have her password. But it's the password she told you to use in emergencies. You use it to monitor her assets on a monthly basis. Is it right? Daniel was silent. The judge looked at him. Mr. Brooks, please answer. Yes. There were murmurs in the courtroom. I sat on the plaintiff's bench, expressionless. Because I know what he said just now admitted 3 things. First, he logged into my personal account without my authorization. Second, he continuously monitors my assets. Third, he lied in court before he said I found out about that account. He now admitted he had been monitoring it. These 3 things were enough to completely collapse his emotional abuse accusation. Day 38. The law firm's board of directors held an emergency meeting. Hosted by Arthur Klein. I am present as plaintiff. Rachel attended as a defendant. Mark attended as the partner under investigation. The conference room is very large, with a long table that can seat 20 people. But today there are only 12 people. The other 8 people either accessed remotely or had temporary business. I stood in front of the projection screen. Guys, I'm not telling a story today. I'll just show you 3 things. The first one, Rachel's original log of implanting a backdoor into the system. This is a record of her planting a backdoor into my law firm's system without my knowledge. Time, operator, operation content. Every item is clear. As the managing partner of a law firm, the very fact that she implanted a backdoor into the system violated the rules of professional ethics for lawyers. The second item, Rachel's record of leaking customer information. This is a record of her exporting the financial information of 3 core customers through a backdoor and sending it to an external mailbox. These 3 clients have now all been transferred to her name. I looked at the board. Do you know what this means? This means that she is using the law firm's resources and the law firm's client information to benefit herself. The law firm did not receive a penny. The third item, evidence that Daniel illegally intervened in the decision-making of the law firm. This is an email exchange between Daniel Brooks and Rachel Lynn regarding personnel changes in the law firm. In this batch of emails, Daniel was directly involved in the promotion decision of the law firm's partner. I looked at Arthur. A person who is not a member of the law firm, a non-lawyer, and does not hold any position in the law firm, was directly involved in the decision to promote partner in our law firm. And you, the board, don't know about this. Arthur's face looked ugly. Evelyn, these evidences. I have submitted this evidence to the State Bar Association. They will verify this during the investigation. But the board needed to make a decision. I looked at Rachel. Rachel Lynn, as the law firm's managing partner, is suspected of system intrusion, client information leakage, and conspiring with outsiders to manipulate the law firm's decision-making. I propose that the board of directors vote to permanently remove Rachel Lynn. Rachel stood up. Evelyn, you can't. I can. I looked at every director. You vote. Voting results. 11 votes were in favor and 1 abstained. Rachel was permanently removed. She stood at the other end of the conference table, still holding the oatmeal latte she was accustomed to drinking during meetings. She didn't look at me. She looked at the voting record form on the table for a long time. Then she put her latte on the table, picked up her bag, and walked out of the conference room. As the door closed, I heard her footsteps getting farther and farther down the hallway. I didn't look back. Day 45. Final hearing. I stood in court and made a decision. I was going to make the final statement myself. Michael sat next to me and gave up his seat to me. I walked up to the judge. Your Honor, I request final statements. The judge nodded. I turned around and faced the court. The courtroom was full. Journalists, lawyers, law students, and a few of my former clients. Daniel sat in the dock. Rachel sat next to him. The 2 people were 1 seat apart and didn't look at each other. I spoke. 3 years ago, I thought I had everything. A career I loved, a partner I trusted, and a person I thought would accompany me throughout my life. Then I discovered that it was all planned. I've helped a lot of people, helped them get up from the ruins of their marriages, helped them get what was theirs, helped them start over. I tell them, you are not alone. I told them, you can win. But when I stood in the ruins, I suddenly realized that those words are easy to say but difficult to do. Because when you're betrayed by the people you trust most, it's not them you doubt yourself. You wonder, am I not good enough? Am I really, as they say, too controlling, too cold, and too unworthy of love? You think, maybe they're right. Maybe I should really sign. Maybe I should take that little money and disappear. Maybe I should throw in the towel. My voice paused. But I won't admit defeat. It's not because I don't feel pain. It's because I know if I admit defeat, if I sign, if I remain silent in court, then what kind of picture will the women I have helped see? They will see that even Divorce Queen lost. I can't let them see this. I looked at Daniel. Daniel Brooks, you are my husband. You comforted me when my mother passed away and you held me when I had insomnia. You said you loved me. You said you would protect me. But you've been setting me up since day one. You turned my trust into your bargaining chip. You turned my vulnerability into your weapon. You turned my success into your reason to liquidate me. I looked at Rachel. Rachel Lynn, you are my best friend. You sat next to me in law school. We stayed up late to review together, took the bar exam together, and worked hard in this city together. I give you my half, I give you my clients, I give you all my trust. And you, using my authority, ruined my career. Used my trust to steal my law firm. I wrote a report letter in my name. What are you thinking about when you sit next to me? You wonder, when will this person fall? Or are you thinking, after this person falls, what will it be like for me to stand in her position? Rachel didn't look up. Her shoulders were shaking. But I'm not sure if she's crying or laughing. Your Honor, I am standing here today not to get my money back, nor to get my law firm back. I want my name back. The name Evelyn Carter is not a woman betrayed by her husband or a lawyer framed by her partners. I earned this name myself, from the first day of law school to standing here today. Every step is taken by my own feet. They can take my money, my shares, my office. But they can't take my name. Because my name is not in the contract. Not in the equity book. Not in a bank account. My name is here. I put my hand on my chest. They can't destroy this. The court was quiet for a long time. The judge looked at me and nodded. End of statement. Judgment Day. Court. Judge Elizabeth Moore handed down the sentence. In the case of plaintiff Evelyn Carter v. defendants Daniel Brooks, Rachel Lynn, and Mark Sullivan, this court makes the following judgment. 1. Defendant Daniel Brooks was charged with property fraud and conspiracy to embezzle. All assets in his name were ordered to be frozen and transferred to the federal prosecutor's office for criminal investigation. Daniel sat motionless in the dock. His lawyer whispered nearby, but he didn't listen. He looked ahead, his eyes empty. 2. The defendant Rachel Lynn was charged with professional frame-up, conspiracy to embezzle, and violation of lawyer professional ethics. The court ordered the lawyer's license to be revoked and the plaintiff Evelyn Carter to be compensated for economic losses and mental damages totaling $2 million. Rachel stood up. I'm not convinced. I want to appeal. The judge glanced at her. You have the right to appeal. However, the penalty of license revocation takes effect immediately while the appeal is pending. Rachel stood there, her lips trembling. She looked at me. I looked at her. She didn't cry. Me neither. 3. The defendant Mark Sullivan was not found guilty of conspiracy to embezzle, but was found guilty of violating lawyer professional ethics. He was sentenced to a 1-year suspension from practice and underwent an ethics review by the Bar Association. Mark sat in the corner, head lowered. He didn't look at me. 4. All of the plaintiff Evelyn Carter's allegations of professional violations have been found to be unfounded. The State Bar Association's investigation has been terminated. The plaintiff's law license will be reinstated immediately. The judge looked at me. Ms. Carter, you can continue to be your attorney. I nodded. The court dispersed. Reporters rushed forward and were stopped by bailiffs. Daniel was taken away by the bailiff. As he passed me, he paused. He looked at me and moved his lips. I heard him say 2 words. I'm sorry. I didn't answer. He's gone. Rachel stood in the hallway, alone. Her lawyer has left. Her assistant didn't come. Her new law firm, the one built with my clients, had lost all its clients after the news broke that she had been disbarred. She stood by the window and looked out. I walked over. She felt me but didn't turn around. You win, she said. It's not about winning. What's that? You lost. She finally turned around. Her eyes were red but not stained with tears. Evelyn, do you know why I did this? I know. Because you want to be in my shoes. No. She shook her head. Not because of that. What's that for? Because I don't want to stand next to you my whole life. She looked into my eyes. Ever since law school, everyone has been saying, Evelyn Carter is the best. Evelyn Carter got the best grades. Evelyn Carter entered the best law firm. Evelyn Carter became the divorce queen. And I will always be the person next to Evelyn Carter. You are good to me. You give me bags, treat me to dinner, and give me shares. But have you ever thought about it? I don't want to be given. I want to take it myself. I looked at her. So you took mine. I took it. What happens after you take it? Are you happy if you stand in my position? She didn't answer. Rachel, if you stand in my position, you are still Evelyn Carter's partner. You are not yourself. You will never be. Because you are not losing to me, you are losing to yourself. She stood there without speaking for a long time. Then she turned around and left. The sound of high heels stepping on the marble floor became farther and farther away. I looked at her back. No hate. There is just a feeling of tiredness. The 3rd day after the verdict. I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of my new office. Not Carter and Associates. Not the 47th floor. Not Italian marble. It's a small office. In Midtown Manhattan, in an old building, on the 14th floor. A table, a chair, a computer, a filing cabinet. A new license hangs on the wall. Evelyn Carter, attorney at law, my name. Just my name. No partners. No marble. There is no front desk. Just me. I registered a new law firm. It's just me. Not recruiting partners. Not hiring assistants. He only takes on one type of case, high-end marriage fraud. Because I know all the pitfalls in this field. Because I myself have climbed out of the pit. The phone lights up. News about new customers. Hello, Miss Carter. My name is Sophia. My husband has been acting strangely lately. He has started traveling frequently, refused to talk about his finances, and made me sign a document that I couldn't understand at all. I suspect he is plotting against me. What should I do? I read this message for a long time. Then I replied, don't panic yet. Keep all the evidence. Bank statements, emails, text messages, recordings, keep everything you can. Don't alert the enemy. Don't confront him until you're ready. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. I put down my phone. Outside the window is the night view of New York. The lights of Manhattan are on, taxis are plowing through the streets, and the Hudson River in the distance shines darkly under the lights. I stood in front of the window and looked at the city. Daniel is under criminal investigation, has his assets frozen, and faces up to 12 years in prison. Rachel lost her license, was on the hook for $4.2 million in damages, and her new law firm dissolved on the day of the verdict. Mark was suspended from business for a year and his wife filed for divorce the day after he was sued. The two men, Daniel and Rachel, filed lawsuits against each other the day after the verdict. Daniel sued Rachel for inducing him to participate in the scheme. Rachel sued Daniel for concealing the allocation of funds. They accuse each other, tear each other down, and use each other as scapegoats. 3 years of careful planning was shattered into powder in 45 days. I turn off my phone. My face was reflected in the windowpane. 35 years old, no makeup, hair loose, wearing an old sweater. No silk skirts. There are no bespoke suits. No Italian marble. But here I am. I'm still Evelyn Carter. Not divorce queen. No one's wife. Not someone's partner. It's me. I picked up the glass of water on the table and took a sip. The water is cold. Then I sat back in the chair, turned on the computer, and started replying to Sophia's message. Sophia, come to my office at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Bring all your evidence. We will take it step by step. She replied, thank you. I don't know how to thank you. I replied, you're welcome. Let's win first. I turned off the computer and turned off the lights. The office went dark. New York is still lit outside the window. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. A picture flashed through my mind. 3 years ago, Rachel was having dinner at my house and Daniel went to the kitchen to get some wine. She was sitting on the sofa and suddenly asked me, Evelyn, have you ever thought about what you would do if one day you didn't have to worry about anything? I said at the time, I never thought about it. Now, if she asked me again, I would say, I'm going to do what I'm doing. The lights went down. End of copywriting.